Let's put up one last video here on this transmission, and then that'll be a wrap. I'm going to be putting it together here right away. So again, here's this clutch shell that's riveted. The ratchet plate's riveted on. There's the ratchet gear and spring spacer. That's the clutch hub. And then the clutch hub nut. This is a mounting plate that I use to put a transmission in, an assembled transmission. I can then put that in the vise and check all my gear spacing and shifter forks, shifting, all of that. This is a box of shims and spacers that I use to set up Sportster 4-speed transmissions. Over here, I've got the transmission installed. And what you need to do, after you've established your gear spacing on the bench, you want to check your end play on your shafts. So here's your main shaft end play, and it's got about 10 thou of end play. I can live with that. I don't want it tighter because it tends to burn up washers and things like that. And then over on the other side, there's that brake I've been working on. It's pretty much good to go. This side here, I'm set up to measure my counter shaft end play. And then I use an old spoke to do this. And again, I got about 8 thou end play. And that's right within the acceptable range for a counter shaft. And to do that, you have to take out this oiler plug out of the end of the counter shaft to get at the end of the shaft so you can actually measure it. And this plug, this is what feeds the oil in to your first gear bushing, and it keeps your transmission alive. So it's always a good idea when you're working on one of these transmissions to make sure that this is free, it's not plugged, and the counter shaft is drilled, and there's a passageway that travels over to the other end. So oil that dribbles into this hole can make its way over to the other side and lube that bushing. So that's a good thing to check. But I'm pretty much ready to start putting this together and putting the Kickstarter parts in and getting that all wrapped up. And then I'm going to move on because I got a front wheel swap to do yet. And these 35mm forks are going to come off. I'm looking for some 39mm forks. I have some 883 super low triple clamps for a 39mm front end. And what that does is it gives you a wider stance on your fork tubes so you can run a fatter tire. And what I mean by that is this build is getting Dunlop dirt track tires, just like the racing guys use. So there's the front tire, and it's a 130. It's not going to fit on a 35mm front end. It's just too narrow. Plus the hub that I'm using is a dual disc later style hub. It's over there in the truing stand, and that won't fit between these fork legs either. So I'm going to do a suspension upgrade, and this 35mm front end I'm going to put on a different frame because I do plan a second build on another Sportster. I've got a 78 engine that I'm going to use on that. It has to be built yet. But I got to do some upgrades on the rear suspension as well. And this weekend coming up, there's a swap meet. And I'm going to be looking for suspension parts, any other Sportster parts that I think I might need that I can afford. And that's pretty much a wrap for today.